Hey there, it's Zach Olson. This is a FaceTime interview with Daryan Githens. He's over in Arizona. We talk about the process of becoming a firefighter and his experiences so far. We talk about physical fitness and his fitness journey and how he lost himself at one point and how he did get back on the ball. We talked about his workouts, which you could see here in these pictures. He's often found doing them in his full gear, which is pretty incredible with those temperatures over in Arizona. He's a pretty cool and inspiring dude. Hope you enjoyed the podcast as much as I enjoyed interviewing him. Uh, Thanks for doing this, by the way. I didn't get a
Yeah,
chance
of
to.
course, man. I
Uh,
appreciate you inviting me. So,
yeah, absolutely. It's only the second time doing one over Skype, so hopefully it goes smooth.
okay, yeah, hopefully.
um, all right. So you're a firefighter. How long have you been? How long is the academy, and how long have you been?
Well, I'm not actually a firefighter yet. So
Okay.
I'm not fully hired on yet. But I do volunteer stuff for Glendale Fire Department over here in Arizona.
Okay.
Um, so I have my fire 1 and 2. I got that through a community college, and that takes just it's like 4 or 5 months. Um, it's every other day from like 7 in the morning until like 3 or 4. And yeah, I mean, we sit there and do a bunch of drills, and do a bunch of different EMS stuff as well. There's a lot of prereqs and stuff. You have to be an EMT just to get into the academy, and then you have to have your CPAT, which is just the bare minimum certification, to do firefighting stuff. So
Okay. Okay. Well, I see you training all the time.
yeah, I'm training all the time. So again, over in Glendale, I'm in their cadet program. So I do at least a drill a month, and then also different skills courses and stuff. So the drills are like we're gonna do like house fires or single story or 2 story, you know what I mean, structures, apartment fires, maybe like car fires. It's just different stuff that we drill on specifically. And then for the skills course, it's basically us getting murdered. Yeah. Basically, I mean, they test us. You know what I mean? Because again, like I said, I'm not fully hired on yet. So I'm just a cadet. So I'm a candidate. You know what I mean? So they're testing us and our ability and our mental ability. That's the main thing. Because there comes a point where you're so tired, and everyone's just so tired that it's just who can push through the most. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that's something that not a lot of people have, and not a lot of people can learn, but it's definitely an ability that you can learn and to push through that mental gate. You know what I mean? Where you're like, dude, I can't go anymore. Right. Well, if you push your, you know what I mean? Like your body's already done. It's been done for the past 30 minutes. So, you know what I'm saying? So,
It's that
definitely.
like one more step. Like you just
Yeah,
take the next step.
exactly.
So do you those workouts that you post are you like redoing what you did there, or are you kind of come up with your own stuff at home?
So a lot of the stuff at home, I'm kind of trying to simulate, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
different stuff. So like the tire flips, we do that at the academy and stuff like that, and over at Glendale as well. But Glendale, it's like a skills course at a training facility. So
Okay.
over in Glendale, it's a real skills course to where we're taking a plug, like which is a fire hydrant. You know what I mean, connecting our supply line. You know what I mean, pulling lines. We're raising ladders. We're dragging dummies. We're going up towers. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
We're crawling through tunnels and different stuff like that. Doing hose drags and stuff like that. So that's like a real skills course where we're dealing with the actual equipment that we're going to deal with. But at home, I don't have all that stuff, so I try to do as much as I can. One of my buddies actually has some hose line, so I get lucky when he comes over. But other than that, I made a tire drag. I just put it like a little eye hook into a tire. I put like 100 to 150 pounds on it, and then I drag it. So it's pretty equivalent to a supply line. Supply line is 5 inch. Well, it's 4 to 5 inch line that's what connects to your plug, usually from your plug to your engine. And that's your nonstop water source. You know what I mean? Because your engine only holds 500 gallons of water. Okay. So if we pull up on scene, we can pull an attack line really fast, but we only have so much water until you secure a nonstop water source. So that's pretty equivalent to that. I have another 100-pound sandbag that I do drags with, and a lot of people think like the movies that we throw people over our shoulder and we kick the door down and stuff, and that just is not the case. Like there's thermal layering within housing and structures in general that are on fire and stuff, and if it's a good working fire and it's been going for a long time before we show up on scene, I mean, when we enter, it could be, when we're crawling on the floor, it could be around 250 degrees when we're crawling. Yeah. So as you stand up, it can go, if you stand up fully, I'm 6'1", it's probably around 450 to 600 degrees at my head.
Crazy.
So
you're in an oven.
We don't put victims over our shoulder and run out of the building. We're sitting there, we're crawling, and we can't see crap. It's black as hell. It's loud. Fires are loud, man. I've been to a big campfire. You know what I mean? It's crackling and stuff falling and stuff. So we're screaming at each other. We got voice amplifiers, but it's still super loud in there. Chaos, so I do that dummy drag. I do sledgehammer swings. That's to simulate like forcible entry through a door or like car doors, different, you know what I mean, to get victims out of car doors and stuff like that. And then actually pretty recently, I just put together it's a Olympic bar, so it's a 45-pound bar, and I just threw like two little 5-pound weights up top, and we do thrusters with it basically. So it's like this, man. I don't know, and it's to simulate pulling ceiling. So we have tools to pull ceilings, so we can get access to the different, you know what I mean, the hidden fires and stuff like that, and to fully extinguish everything for overhaul. And that is actually tough, man. I was like, oh, okay, this will be a good little add-on, and I added that onto the circuit, and I was like, all right, that was a mistake, but yeah, man. And then mostly all the circuits I do in my gear too. So,
right, that's sick.
Yeah.
It's freaking hot, I bet, huh? Especially you were doing that over summer, in the middle of the day.
Yeah, and that's one thing for sure. Heat acclimation here is super important. I mean, you're getting super hot in your gear, and then it's 115, 120 degrees outside, ambient temperature. Yeah, that's rough on you. So and again, like the movies, some people think we go in there and we fight a fire like just nonstop. Well, we have air tanks that we're breathing. You know what I mean? So, and you go in as a team, you leave as a team. So you can only stay in there as long as
the last guy has it, or the first guy runs out of air.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whoever sucks down their air first, well, it looks like we're leaving when he sucks down his air. Right. All right, you know what I mean? So, and bigger guys, they suck down air quick. You know what I mean? I'm talking 15 minutes sometimes, 20 minutes. Yeah. So, but that's 15 to 20 minutes of probably the most intense work of your life in a fire situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because your team, the victim, the structure itself, it's all relying on you to put in work at that moment. So, it's important to stay that, you know what I mean, acclimated to that. And a lot of firefighters right now, actually, here in Arizona, will train less often right now because their bodies are all right, you know what I mean, to withstand fire. But in the summertime, that's when they up their training because they need to really be on top of their game. So, but yeah, sometimes I've taken my pulse and my SpO2 after a workout, and my pulse has been at 192 before.
Oh,
SpO2 was at like 91%. So
you're damn near at 100%.
Yeah, I'm like, if that was a patient, man, we'd be like, all right, we're loading and going right now, and we're getting you to the hospital because something's going on.
All right,
we're applying O2 and we're going right now.
You're like peak heart rate.
What was that?
You're like peak heart rate there, like at very max, like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and that's for us. That's normal for us. You know what I mean? And then we put in those 20 minutes of work, and then we rehab. So That's why you need to stay on top and be able to have your body to rehab up in that 120-degree ambient temperature.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Have you ever looked into? I just recently I've hyperbaric chambers. I was just reading something last week that was saying
Yeah,
something about firefighters using it.
I've seen some of that. That's the pressure chamber.
Yeah, the pressure chambers.
Yeah, you're talking about for like recovering your body, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I've seen some different stuff. Like they're like the pants things that you put on,
yeah, okay.
but I've never seen the actual like whole chambers and stuff.
So the hyperbaric chambers are it's just pressurized 100% oxygen, and I guess
Mm-hmm.
firefighters are using it not only for like body recovery, but because you are potentially inhaling more smoke than the average person, right?
Most definitely.
So your brain
Yeah,
and stuff type of thing, like it's a recovery
yeah.
for your brain.
There's been a lot of research that's gone into cancer and stuff lately, and yeah, firefighters are way more susceptible to contracting cancer and stuff like that, of course. And because of that, a lot of departments. So Phoenix over here is arguably one of the top 5 departments in the United States.
Okay.
A lot of people will throw it out there. You know what I mean? And so, especially here in the Southwest, a lot of what Phoenix does, other departments do. So,
They follow in
and
the
yeah,
footsteps.
like I said, with all that research happening, a lot of big departments lately have been going to like really, really strict SOPs and like protocols and stuff for firefighters after fires. So for us or for Glendale and Phoenix, because Glendale had to follow Phoenix.
Yeah.
After a fire, you strip down all your gear and you put it into a bag. You know, I mean, each individual bag, you know, and then you wipe yourself down with these special wipes. You know what I mean? And you wipe down all the susceptible areas. You know, what I mean, your neck, your armpits, your groin, and you know what I mean, and the rest of all your body that you can. But those are the most susceptible areas where your glands and stuff are. You know what I mean?
Very porous.
And yeah, exactly. And then after that, you get in your engine, you drive back to the station, and I know for Phoenix, you have to take a shower. Like it's protocol, you have to take a shower, and you take the hottest shower you can. You try to sweat everything you can out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And after that, again, Phoenix for sure because they got a lot of money. They got $500 million annual budget.
Damn.
Yeah, and they have different rooms where there's sauna rooms with stationary bikes in it. So you shower first, you get as much as you can out, and then you sit there and you stationary bike for a period of time, and you sweat out as much as you can, even more, and then you shower again. And it sounds like a lot, and it sounds time consuming. And you're like, well, what happens when another fire goes out, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, that's what's going to prevent us from getting cancer.
Right.
Okay,
Right. It's worth it.
Is self-care and sitting here and taking what these scientists and researchers have. They've gone to school for years and years and years to do this type of stuff. Why would you not take advantage of what they're saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, so, and I know in San Francisco, 100% of the females that have worked for the San Francisco Fire Department have contracted breast cancer.
That is wild.
100%.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if I'm a female, I'm like, what? I would never.
No.
I'm staying away from that city in general. It's
Right.
like, so yeah, the cancer is a really, really big deal here, and a lot of what's happening lately, these firefighters have been getting cancer, and then the cities that they're working for or the states and stuff, they've been denying them healthcare, which is just like, I don't even know what to say about that because it's just a given, you know what I mean? And like most people just fully understand that, even they don't need any type of understanding of anything else. Right. It's just like, we are first responders, and then we get sick because of our job, and then you're not going to take care of us. You know what I mean? To help take care of us. So yeah, that's a really big deal, and I hope that more research comes out and stuff like that. And I also, with the cancer stuff, you know what I mean? Because my mom got sick too. I think a lot of that is just our lifestyle in general as Americans, like
Right.
the way what we eat, the way we eat, what we drink. You know, like I said, our lifestyle in general is like it's poor, and it's. I think a lot of it is because people are not knowledgeable in different
Mm-hmm.
things, and if they were, they would really try to take care of themselves a little bit more. They'd try to watch what they eat. They'd try to watch their mood and their mentality. You know what I mean? And so yeah, man. I don't know. People just need to be more knowledgeable.
Yeah, even if you work out regularly, you probably work out like an hour or two a day. What are you doing the other like 22 hours? Like, are you getting enough
Yeah,
sleep? Are you eating the right stuff? Because you're gonna do both regardless.
definitely, most definitely. And the other thing is like, what do you do for work? Do you
Mm-hmm.
do you really enjoy what you do? Like, and I get it, man. Not everyone can get the dream job. You know what I mean? But do something that you're not gonna just hate. Like, I don't know if you know Gary Vee.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's like, yeah. And one of the things he always says is like, dude, if you're sitting there and you're working and you're waiting for the weekend,
Right,
like
right.
you're wasting your life.
Yeah,
Like, what is that?
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna sit there. You come home from work. You're irritated. You're tired, and you got nothing done for the past 10 hours that you want to accomplish. Like,
right.
you know what I mean? And so that's one thing that with the firefighting that I really enjoy and appreciate is I like that. I like what I do when I go over into Glendale and I work over there. You know what I mean? Like, I like the people there. I like serving. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. We firefighters don't get paid a lot at all.
Right.
Sorry, there's a UPS truck
Oh
going
no,
over.
you're good.
So, I mean, first responders in general, you know what I
Right.
mean, don't get paid much at all, especially for what we're doing. And that goes to show you, it's like these guys and women that are doing this stuff, you're not doing it for the money. You're doing it because that's what you want to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And there's a lot of burdens that we hold with it because we see a lot of people sick. We see a lot of people that are hurt. You know what I mean? And we see a lot of just bad in the world. But with that, we see a lot of good too. I see other people helping, you know what I mean? I see other people standing by and waiting for us, you know what I mean, for a total stranger or whatever it may be. So I think it's really rewarding. And that's one thing my uncle Vic has really showed me too is he enjoys his job. I could call him and he could be laughing and be like, "Oh, my buddy Cecil was just talking to me about blah blah blah," and it's like he likes his job, and
Yeah.
then he happens to get paid a lot of money with it. So it's like that goes hand in hand with that. So and yeah, I think a lot of people give up on what they really want because it might be too hard or they think that they can't get it. You know what I mean? Or and I've heard this too, and it made sense. A lot of people maybe can't handle the success once they get it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Or they're just looking for what pays the bills. Is the other like just
yeah,
looking for
yeah, definitely.
just whatever's convenient to pay, like the
Yeah,
easiest thing, right? When
yeah,
you're like
but you're
20.
you're working half your life.
Yeah, exactly.
So why do that?
And you should be working to create like either like something so much like you're talking about with firefighting, or like make your hobby your job. Like figure out how
Yeah,
to like over time make that a reality.
or at least find a job that you don't sit there and hate
Yeah.
and you're annoyed with people you work with. That way, when you come home, you can appreciate your family
Mm-hmm.
and you can sit there and embrace your hobby, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? Like, you want to build something. You know what I mean? You want to pursue something else. But yeah, I mean, people sit there and will settle for less because exactly like you said, they're comfortable or
Right.
it pays the bills and I'm okay right here. So each their own. If that's how
Yeah.
you want to be, that's fine. You know what I mean? But not I.
Right. Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Not the people I'm surrounded by.
Right.
So
You don't want to be comfortable. Like you want to be
yeah,
comfortably uncomfortable. Right.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one. Yeah, they always said that in the academy to us. You better be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's definitely. I mean, we're in situations, physical situations, and mental situations where you're very, very uncomfortable. But that's what we signed up for. You know what I mean? Like that's part of what we do. So definitely, and I tell people that too. Is a lot of the firefighting stuff we we're therapists too. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? We at the truest form, we're problem solvers. You know what I mean? Because we get called that cat in the tree stereotype. That's real. Okay, that's I'm just saying. Like, we really will get called to an old lady that my cat won't come down. All right. We'll throw our ladder and we'll go up there, and the cat will be freaking scratching us crazy. Yeah, man, that's real. But we're just problem solvers. You know what I mean? People, the cat in the tree to, oh, I saw this pipe over here exert some pressure. Okay, we'll go look at that. To full on trauma of a motor vehicle accident, you know what I mean, where we have to extricate someone or something.
Right.
So yeah, man.
It's a lot of shit.
You're about to experience that too.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting, dude.
Oh, you touched on two things that got me into personal training and kind of led me into wanting to do firefighting was helping people, of course, is like the like standard cliche one for both those things, but also avoiding a desk job is what I'm trying to do for as long as I can. Like
Yeah.
maybe someday I'll have a desk job, but try to just avoid that while my body's good.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, exactly. To sit there and to be able to get paid to help people,
Right.
and to get paid to be physically fit,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean. Like, that's perfect. That's perfect to me. Yeah, and exactly like I said, like my uncle, he has a desk job, but he enjoys it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like I said, that's what I'm saying. To each their own, for sure. And also, one of the things that for sure for me with the firefighting thing is I never had too much of a family growing up. You know what I mean? My sister was 10 years older than me, so at a certain time she left at the house. You know what I mean? And my dad was never really around. So yeah, and my mom had her own struggles, just like every other family and stuff like that. So I always embraced my baseball family. Right. You know what I mean? That's one thing is I had a certain probably 6 or 7, 8 group of guys that I grew up with consistently that was always on my team. And then there were guys like you, man. You know what I mean? Like and some of the older guys for sure that I grew up with and I embraced fully as my brothers, and you know what I mean, and as the people that I care about and people that I know care about me. And that's one thing that I really, really value with firefighting as well is you work together nonstop. It's not a regular 8-hour shift. I'm talking you're working 24 hours, sometimes 48 hours together. So that means you're eating together.
Right.
You're, you know what I mean? You're cleaning the toilets of the people of your buddies. You know what I mean? That they just took a crap in. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you're going to the store together to get the food that you're about to cook. You know what I mean? Like you're doing every single thing together, and you gotta like the people you work with. You know what I mean? For sure. And they say you can turn a good guy into a firefighter, but you can't turn a firefighter into a good guy. Okay. So that's one thing they try to look for, just good people, common sense people that want to work hard. You know what I mean? And I think that's a lot in life in general too. Like, for example, again with my Uncle Vic, his degree is physics and math. What he does right now is literally nothing to do with physics or math. He's doing software. You know what I mean? And that, you know what I mean? I think a degree, when a lot of these employers and different people like look at these degrees, they look at it and they see that you're able to, you know what I mean, follow directions. Yeah. You're able, you know what I mean? Your work ethic is good. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, and that's what you learn when you're younger you can apply it to later when it's completely different. Like doing firefighting now, you could apply that later down the road, even if you're not doing. It's a experience is what they're really after, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now we were talking about before we started recording this about you had gained a bunch of weight before, and then you kind of you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I played baseball all throughout my whole life, basically from when I was like 5 until my sophomore year, when I had to quit because I was taking care of my mom, who was sick at the time, and then so long story short, I graduated, and after my mom passed away, I moved over to Arizona, and started to live by myself. My plan was to play baseball, but that didn't work out. And so yeah, started to live by myself, and dealing with my mom's death, and also living by myself and stuff. I just didn't take care of myself the way I should have, and yeah, I gained probably around 50 to 60 pounds. My senior year, I was probably about 190, and then yeah, at one point I was probably 250 or so, and uncomfortably big. I mean, I could feel it in like the way I walk, you know what I mean, and my confidence level when I would go out and stuff, you know what I mean, stuff like that. So I was like, man, I got to do something about this because I don't want this, you know what I mean. So I made the decision to get a mountain bike and to try to start watching what I was eating and stuff like that, you know what I mean. And I would probably ride consistently at the least 10 to 15 miles every day, you know what I mean? And some days I'd ride 20 to 30 miles to where it's just my butt would be hurting me too much. And I'd be like, all right, man, I got to go. So yeah, man. And I dropped down to about 210, 205 to my weight right now. And I feel stronger, faster, and you know what I mean? More healthy than ever for sure. Growing up, I was always just playing sports. Growing up, you don't. A lot of people, at least, don't watch what they eat. You know what I mean? And like, you're not worried about that. You're egocentric when you're growing up. You know, a lot of the time. So it's like, oh, I play baseball, whatever. And then your metabolism is different. You know what I mean? So it's like,
and you're way more active. You don't have that desk job you're way more active. You're not like stuck in college in a class or at a desk job or you know.
Exactly. You're always running around with your buddies or playing sports. Exactly. When in high school. So yeah, man. So super glad that I lost all that weight. I needed it too because going into the fire academy, it's like you're running probably 5 to 6 miles every day at the fire academy, and that's just running before you even do. That's your PT class. We have a PT class before our actual academy class. You know what I mean?
With all those skills that you're talking about, would be all the skills class and stuff that you were talking about would be the after.
So, yeah, that'd be after. Yeah. That'd be during the academy and stuff. So exactly, a typical day in the academy would be 7 o'clock. We'd show up, start PT. You know what I mean? Stretch out, do everything, and then start running. Right. I mean, basically, we'd start either Indian runs or like team runs with holding 45-pound plates. Towers, man. Those things suck.
Climbing towers?
What's that?
What is it? Climbing towers? Is that what it is?
Not climbing tower. I mean, running up towers. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's stairs essentially, but it's just it was a big tower, 7 stories, and yeah, man, we'd probably do like 15 towers too. You know what I mean? Like 10 to 15 towers. So we'd put in work, and then we'd go change out and start the day for the academy. You know what I mean? So, and then after that, we change out, line up with all of our gear, walk out, put all of our gear on, and start to do drills. You know what I mean? Where we'd pull out the engine, start to pull line, we'd go over tools, we'd vent. You know what I mean? Start up our saws and everything, and start to vent. All kinds of different stuff. And yeah, it'd be a long day, but that's. Again, they're testing our work ethic. They're testing our mental ability to keep going and stuff like that. So, again, you just got to learn to push through it. You're all tired. Right. Even your instructors, they've been out there all day too. So, it's just who can keep going for sure.
Is there schoolwork involved in that day, or is that all physical?
Yeah, so there's schoolwork. Usually it'd be probably like an hour or so, an hour or two. For the rest of the time, yeah, we'd be outside.
Okay.
For sure. But towards the end of the class, we had a big state exam and everything to state certify. And to be honest, we probably should have lectured a little bit more.
Yeah.
But because basically the state certification was like, okay, we can test you randomly on 50 skills. Damn. And there's like, the skills are all like checkpoints. You know what I mean? Like step by step by step by step what you have to do, and some are critical failures and stuff. So we're all stressing on that, but every single one of my academy brothers and sisters graduated for sure. We all certified and everything. So
nice. The the harder part would be the school or the physical part, or you can't really compare the two, huh?
mm, yeah, I mean, for me at least, the hardest part would be physical for sure.
Okay.
I'm I'm not too bad at test taking. You know what I mean? Growing up in high school, I was always lazy, but that changed. You know what I mean? Going to college and stuff. So the school part wasn't too hard, but the physical part for sure, man. There were two Marines that were in my academy, and both of them straight up said, without a doubt, this is harder than anything I've done in the Marines, bro. And they said straight up, they were like, don't get me wrong, the Marines, they're yelling at us to quit. You know what I mean? They're yelling at us and they're trying to like mentally like break you for sure. They're trying to break you. And he was like, here, not so much, but physically wise, he was like, and that's the one thing that I try to tell people. Like a lot of my buddies, when they see my stuff or in different stuff, they're like, man, I couldn't do that. It looks hard. And I'm like, bro, I bet you could. You know what I mean? Doing the circuit that I do, I bet you a lot of people could do it. But it's those turnouts. Mm-hmm. Put on the gear that we all have to wear, and that's the true deal breaker of you know what I mean, who can do it and not, because they weigh 30 pounds. It's a sauna suit essentially, and it limits your mobility. I mean, dramatically. So all the different movements that you're able to do freely, now you have to exert more energy because
you're
it's
restricted.
Stopping you. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then, like I said, it's a freaking sauna suit. You just sit there and you nonstop. There's no air. I mean, it could be stupid windy outside, and I feel nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's nothing at all, you know, and that's for our protection. Right. You know what I mean? We don't, you know, when we go into a fire, so it's bittersweet, but yeah, for sure. The physical part, for sure, for me, definitely was the hardest part.
Yeah, that's some of the stuff you do is pretty crazy, but most people probably could, like you're saying, especially without a suit. But most people, it's it's mentally stopping, not physically stopping, right?
Yeah,
that's what you're saying with the Marines. They drill it into you that you could quit at any time. You know, like why don't you quit? It'll be you'll be like nice and cozy inside in no time. You know?
Yeah. That's literally I mean, it's just like, are you gonna quit and be a bitch in front of all your buddies? You know what I mean? It's like, and not just that. It's not just about you. It's not just about your buddies, bro. There are people, if you really want to do the shit, there are people that are inside a fucking vehicle that are screaming, hurt, saying, help me, you know what I mean? And you got to sit there and pound your way through that vehicle for a second until the saw, or not the saw, you know what I mean? Until all of our tools come out, you know what I mean? And, you know what I mean? There are other people relying on us, man. You know what I mean? And it's not just about you. Like, your physical fitness is under your control, but it factors into all of your team and the whole scenario in general. You know what I mean? Like, if your instant commander sits there and says, "Hey, you guys are going to the roof," and you've been in twice already, or you know what I mean, whatever it may be, whatever, and you're fucking tired of shit, well, you're going to the fucking roof, okay? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, or you're doing a secondary search. Like, that's your fucking job, so that's what you got to do, and that's why it's so important to stay physically fit, man. Yeah, for sure.
And other people are dependent on you, and could be their life, and you're also, if you're not up to it because you have been slacking off on your fitness, then it's your life potentially, right? Like, and you're putting other people in danger.
Three people that are relying, yourself, you know what I mean, your team, and then the victim, you know, for sure, and also the victim's family, you know what I mean, the people that aren't inside the fire but that are hoping that the firefighters did their job, you know what I mean, and that they're going to be alive, you know what I'm saying, and we're talking a lot about life and stuff, but also we try to preserve. So our goal is to preserve life and property.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people work hard for their stuff, man. You know what I mean? For their vehicles, for their material items, for their house, and we want to preserve that the best we can. That's why we train so hard, again, with different skills of, you know what I mean, of doing forcible entry. And that is definitely a skill itself. There are a lot of different doors, all kinds of different stuff, you know what I mean, that we got to get through. And like I said, we're trying to do as least damage as we can in order to save the property owner money. You know what I mean? So some of these guys are very, very, very talented at getting in places with very little damage.
Mm.
And usually those are those older guys on ladder trucks that have been doing it for years. Again, we're talking about that experience, man. Just experience is key for sure. So yeah, always life comes first. You know what I mean? There's a thing that we say, we're gonna risk a lot for a lot, which obviously means life. Right. We're gonna risk our lives in order to save life. That's every single fire that we encounter. We do a primary search. We go inside and we crawl on our hands and knees and we hit every single corner of that structure to make sure that no bodies are inside of it. You know what I mean? We're sweeping underneath beds. Babies and smaller children like to go underneath there to seek shelter, and we're opening doors and checking behind the door because a lot of older people, that's where we find them. Adults, I mean, they're trying to get out. You know what I mean? And they go down. So yeah, we're gonna risk a lot for a lot. We're gonna risk a little for a little, which means we're gonna risk a little of our life in order to preserve your property, and then we're gonna risk nothing for life and property that is not savable. You know what I mean? And there comes a point where if we show up on scene and it's a fully involved structure, and the incident commander, it might not be the incident commander. If it's first on scene, it might be the captain, but he at the time is the incident commander, and he says, "No, we're not going inside because if we can't physically go inside and live, when we're in full gear, we're breathing oxygen, we're in full fire retardant gear, then someone inside is not going to be alive.
Right.
So we're not going to risk our life for that. You know what I mean? And the same thing, if the structure's collapsing, obviously we're not going to risk our life. You know what I mean? We're not going to go inside.
So how long was the academy? Or
The
you're
academy
still
was like 4.5 months.
okay? Okay, and you're there Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, or all the
It
time?
would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 7 to 3.
Okay, okay, nice.
Yeah.
What's your next step?
My next step right now is to get hired, man. So I'm in a testing process right now with the city of Glendale, the city of Tempe, and the city of Scottsdale.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm testing right now for them. Hopefully that goes well. This will be my second time through with Glendale. I actually went to their second round interview for them, and I didn't get pushed through. I didn't get hired because I live in Chandler, and Glendale out there it's about 25, 30 miles away. And I didn't have anything to do with the community at the time, and I didn't do any ride-alongs or anything. So that's actually, I was invited to their cadet program. I actually got a text, and I was invited to their cadet program. So I've been doing that for the past 6 months. And so, yeah, they're hiring again here soon, and, well, right now. And so that might be my chance, man.
Nice.
So we'll see.
I was gonna ask you that too. So you could do ride-alongs? Yeah.
Yeah, so I do ride-alongs in Glendale, and with that, again, I'm an EMT, so I do patient care with them too. So I'll show up at the station at 8 o'clock, which is shift change. In Glendale, it's 24-hour shifts. It's on a Kelly schedule. So I'll show up at 8 o'clock, and I have a mentor over in Glendale, and his job is to get me hired, basically, for any department, though. So that's one of the things that Glendale is very, very lenient on helping you get hired on with different departments. A lot of other departments want you to put all your time and effort into them. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And stuff like that. So I really like that about Glendale. But so 8 o'clock, my mentor and I will put in our PARs, so which is our personal accountability report. That's basically saying we're there, where we are. You know what I mean? What engine we're on. He puts on his helmet strap or patch. And then right after that, you go over your gear. You're gonna check your all your turnouts. Make sure that you got everything. Make sure you got your hood. Make sure you got your gloves. And then right after that, you're gonna check your air. Make sure it's full. Make sure that your pass alarm works. Your pass alarm is your man, I'm forgetting the acronym now. There's so many dang acronyms.
Right.
Your pass alarm is your safety system, basically.
Okay.
I think that's exactly what it is. Personal accountability safety system.
Okay. Okay.
And basically, it's a loud beeping noise when it senses no movement for 15 seconds. Okay. So they're assuming that we're on a fire ground. We're going to be moving nonstop. So when we stop moving, it starts to chirp really loud. So you want to make sure that works, because if you go down, you mayday, you want to be able to be heard. And then right after that, you're gonna check your boxes. So there's 2 boxes. There's a medic box and a BLS box. So basic life support and advanced life support. So being an EMT, I do BLS. BLS is like basically the main difference between ALS and BLS is ALS can run drugs. So they can hook up IVs and they can push drugs.
Okay.
That's the main difference. There's a few other things, of course, but so each box has different things. You know what I mean? The medic box has IV stuff. They have Crike stuff. They got a bunch of different IO stuff. So IV is intravenous. IO is interosseous or whatever. It's through the bone.
Oh.
So some high trauma, major trauma victims, they've lost so much blood that we can't find a vein.
Right.
So we have to go straight through the bone. So we go through the humerus or through the patella. Or actually, it's right above the patella. It's the femur. And it's some people will be unconscious, and it's a drill. It's a drill that goes, and they'll wake up
in the middle of it.
Yeah,
dude,
because it hurt much.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah,
that's
crazy. The militaries. We don't do that very often. Again, that's like if someone has been like high trauma to the head, like they've been shot in the head or something, or a big motor vehicle accident where they've lost a lot of blood. That's the military. A lot of military do that.
Okay.
They don't even waste time. Like again, the gunshot wounds and stuff. They don't even waste time trying to hit IVs. They just go straight to the IO. You know what I mean?
Damn.
So. Yeah, that's ALS stuff, and we go over all that. We make sure that the lights work on the lights. We make sure the drill works. We make sure that all the different size crikes and all the different IV tubing, the starter kits, all the different stuff. And what's not there, we replace. You know what I mean? We're getting ready for the day.
Right.
And then same thing in the BLS box. We go through everything. We replace everything, and then you go through the rest of the engine. Make sure you have all your tools. Make sure that your hose laser are laid. You know what I mean? Make sure that your pre-connects are connected. Make sure you have all your different not stores. See, here's the thing. At MCC on the East Valleys, they use Storts connections. Okay.
All right.
So I was trained to use Storts connections.
Okay.
Well, over on the west side, Phoenix and West, basically, they use HUMAT valves. So, anyways, all the HUMAT valves and everything. So, and then after that, you usually go into either daily chores right away, or you go into breakfast. You know what I mean? So either or, but for daily chores, it's what you do for your house. You know what I mean? You're gonna take out the trash. You're gonna sweep. You're gonna mop. You're gonna, you know what I mean? Clean the kitchen counter. Just your daily chores. You're gonna clean the toilets. So. And that's the one thing is like they're looking for good work ethic, you know, people that aren't lazy, and that goes hand in hand. Is like, dude, we live together. If you're gonna be lazy, I'm not picking up after you.
Right,
We're grown men and women. Right. You know what I mean? It's like, put your fucking cup in the sink. Right. You know, it's like, it's really easy. So yeah, man. And then right after that, as a cadet, I am nonstop doing stuff. And that's whether that's cleaning stuff, I mean just spotless clean, or I'm going over the engine more, or I'm going over the medic, you know what I mean, and the AL, or the BLS boxes. I'm nonstop doing stuff because I have not earned the right to chill.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I mean? But after that, they chill. You know, they're gonna start. They're gonna sit and relax. Some might work out early in the morning. You know what I mean? Whatever. They have all their own routines and stuff. But yeah, when the tones drop, you'll be sitting at the station in the bay or in living quarters, and the tones drop. It goes, and it goes engine 157. You know what I mean? Unconscious male, and then we all go. And that's one thing is upwards of 80% of our calls are medical in nature.
Okay.
So because I mean, a lot of nowadays there's so many fire codes and safety stuff, and people are smarter with stuff that there's just not as many fires nowadays. You know what I mean?
Which is good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the other thing also is, I'm pretty sure it was like pretty sure it was like 1960 or something like that. In 1960, again, and that's a long time, but still, 1960, you had like 17 minutes to get out of a structure before you couldn't get out.
Okay.
Now it's like 2 to 3 minutes, and that's because of the contents that we have. I mean, my couch is from Best or not Best Buy. You know, it's just from some. You know what I mean? Like it's from some place. It's fake.
Right.
It's a bunch of plastic. It's a bunch of glue. It's a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? Like all the counters that I have, they're fake. All that stuff is just cancer and like and super super fast and super hot burning material.
Right.
You know what I mean? And yeah, that's one reason why those fires are so freaking hot. Like I said, it's like an oven that we're in. So.
Right. So much furniture. We have a lot of materials now too. A lot of that stuff. Not only like is it a different material, but we have a lot of materials. Like way more than you used to have like a dining room table and like couch. Now we have like two of everything. You know.
Yeah. No, definitely, and it's funny we talk about that in the fire service too. Is people with apartments will get household stuff. So like the couches fill the whole apartment.
Oh yeah, you know what I mean?
It's for a house essentially. You know what I mean? But yeah, so exactly like you're saying, like and that matters, man. How small the structure is and the fire and stuff. You know what I mean? It's called the fire load. You know what I mean? If there's a lot of stuff in there that can catch fire, there's a very high fire load. That's just dangerous. You know what I mean? Super dangerous. But yeah,
you're just making a bonfire inside your apartment, essentially.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, that's we did 3 live burns in my academy.
Okay.
And that's what we would do. We would just it was just a little room. It was all concrete too, which made it really like an oven. And it was just a little room, and we would put like 5 or 6 pallets, a bunch of hay, and just light shit on fire. And just let it cook and let it cook and let it cook and okay, you ready? Let's go.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Go inside and shit. And yeah, the first one, we all crawled inside and we all just had to sit there for a second. And we're all sitting there and we're like, damn, it's hot, man. And we're like looking at each other and our instructor, our RTO, is like, lay down. And we all had to lay down. And then he was like, stand up. And we all stood up and like stood up for like this and went right back down. You know, and we're like. And that's just your body, like, naturally, like, trying to save itself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, man, and it gets real hot. And that's just from hay and pallets. So imagine, like I said, like, all those different high contents and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that's wild. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I appreciate you doing this, because...
Yeah, for sure, man.
Just for me alone, that was a lot of good information. Like a lot of stuff I didn't know.
And yeah, if you personally have any other information, or like if anyone else hears this or anything and like wants to ask me anything, dude, I'm super open to it for sure, because I'm not hired on yet, like I said, but I'm trying to, and I know how hard it is to get hired on, man. Okay. Like just a heads up, Phoenix this last go round, they tested like 3,300 people. That's for a position of like 30 people. Damn. That's 1%.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. That is 1%. Crazy.
So it's very, very competitive, for sure.
Yeah, you're like years ahead of me in the like. So like, I'll definitely have some questions as we go forward. Sure. Yeah,
you're gonna fly by going into the Air Force though, bro. They're gonna do it. everything for you, and you just got to perform, bro. You know what I mean? Like, pass all your tests, make sure that you stay fit, and you know what I mean. You'll be good for sure, man.
Yeah,
It's rewarding, dude. I mean, I don't do this stuff for the thank you and stuff like that, but when people say thank you, for sure you're like, man, that feels good. You know what I mean? But even so, these people, and this is you said cliche earlier. You're like, well, I want to help people. That's cliche, and that's true. You know what I mean? But and this is another cliche thing too. People call us on their worst day. You know what I mean? Their worst time in their life probably, in order for them to call 911. And whether that's a geriatric who's 75 years old who stubbed and broke her toe, and she thinks it's the fucking end of the world, or it's like I said, someone who has a gunshot wound,
right.
and it really is probably the end of the world for them. You know what I mean?
For
like,
sure, yeah.
well, we have to show up. We have to be professional and compassionate, and show our skill set. You know what I mean? And try to fix the problem, like I said. So yeah, man, it's rewarding for sure, and I'm glad I got another buddy that's going into it for sure.
Well, I'm glad you have so much insight into it already. I'm
Yeah,
glad to
I
pick
appreciate
your
it.
brain about it.
Yeah.
I don't think I mentioned. I was thinking about it when you were talking about training and such, and how you're training for like others. Like it's not just for
Yeah.
Does that has to like push your training farther, right? Like when you're in the
Yeah,
middle of
no,
training, you're
definitely.
thinking about that.
It's kind of like, all right. So growing up playing baseball, I had Coach Sergio, who was the really like adjust, hit the inside ball, come on, you know what I mean? Like really, you know what I mean? And then I had Coach Young, who was the very, very positive one, who would sit there and go, "That was good, hit just like that." You know what I mean? Like, and I think having two different insights is very good. And again, with what you were saying, I've gotten taught one way to do stuff, and with different equipment in the East Valley over at MCC through my academy, and now doing stuff volunteering for Glendale fire department, I've learned a whole different way of doing stuff. You know what I mean? And you can appreciate that because you just have several different ways of doing stuff in your toolbox. You know what I mean? Like, because one way doesn't always work, and especially on the fire ground. Like, dude, it's wet, it's dark. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? People are, you're in a rush. Like, shit don't always work the way you want it to, and it's nice to be able to have different ways to do stuff. So most definitely, the training in different places has helped a lot.
That makes me think about Coach Bradley because like I'm not nearly as like worried about going in or anything like that because I like he was tough, like that's it was like it was good. It like turned you into a man type, like pushed you towards that, growing up, and like
Yeah.
not you like somebody yelling at you is not the end of the world. Like he only does it because he cares, or you know what I mean, like that type of stuff.
Oh,
And
definitely.
it's not those high stress situations aren't nearly as and being critiqued even when you did good, like or when you
Yes.
win, and there's still things to improve on, which is just
Yes.
like in the service of any kind, firefighting in particular. Like even if you everyone survives, you like put out the fire, or it may be a medical call like you were talking about. There's always things to improve on.
No, most definitely. And after mostly everything we do, I mean, if it's just some like we had to go and just transport an old lady that has some chest pain or something, well, you know, I mean, we probably won't talk about that. But if it was like the other day, there was a motor vehicle accident that called for extrication, and after everything was handled, exactly like you said, you reflect back. You know what I mean? The engineer was like, "Hey, Captain, like, what could I have done better?" You know what I mean? And everything went smooth, super smooth, and exactly like you said, like that. I think little stuff like that definitely can help for sure. And yeah, man, physically wise, the academy was the hardest thing I've ever done, and mentally also, it's definitely up there. I'm just because dealing with my mom's death at a younger age, that's up there as well. But I know for myself and for a lot of people, going through a fire academy, and I've only gone through a college academy. So for anyone who's gone through a college academy and then they go through a career academy, they know the difference. The career academy is way more intense, but I'm telling you that that'll be one of the hardest things mentally as well, because like I said, there'll be a time where you're like, dude, I I can't do this, bro. I can't keep going right now. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna pass out. Well,
Mm.
pass out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was and communicate. That's fine. Tell your buddies, hey, bro, I might pass out right here. Okay, I
Give a
got
hundred
you. Just pass
percent.
out.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, and I would we would do that in the academy. All of us were EMTs.
Yeah.
All of our instructors were freaking were medics. You know what I mean? It's like if we pass out, we'll be good. We're in good hands.
It's
Like
the
you know what I
best
mean?
place
So
to do it.
there you go. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, push yourself. Just push yourself. And I think I see you, bro. I don't like running. I'd ride 50 miles rather than run 1 mile. I'm not
Okay.
even kidding you. All right, but you have to run. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I've had to run, but I see you running, bro, and like there has to be some point where you're like mentally like, damn, but you just keep going.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
One more step. One
Yeah.
more step.
One more step.
One more
Exactly.
step. Yeah. That's something with running. I really appreciate because I was always a bigger kid, and I
Yeah.
hated running. I hated like Coach Sergio used to make us run. I
Yeah.
hated running, and now I appreciate it so much
Yeah.
because it feels good. Like you said something about being uncomfortable. Like you got to a point to where you were overweight and uncomfortable, and that's what I like. That was kind of childhood, pretty much.
Yeah. I
So I
got
was
you.
uncomfortable doing everything. So now, like working out, but running particularly, it's like I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, dude.
All right, dude. I appreciate you doing this. This was awesome.
Yeah, man, for sure.
I'll are you gonna be in town at all in the next like?
Yeah, probably for Christmas I'll probably be in town. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be I'll be out by then, but I will. We'll have to link up sometime.
Yeah, bro, we'll be in contact for sure.
Yeah,
And best of luck with you on your next journey and stuff, dude.
yeah. I'm sure I'll text you or something before now and then with some
All right,
more questions.
sounds good.
Oh, what do you have to do? Is there anything particular to the engineer's the guy that drives, right? Or
Yeah,
gal? Is there anything in particular? Is that an additional school? Do you go to driving school or?
yeah. So with every single rank, you have to take some classes and then test. So there's firefighter EMT, and then there's firefighter paramedic. You know what I mean? And then there's engineer, and then captain. Those are what's on the engine. So, but yeah, to be an engineer, you have to do some more schooling, and it's not super hard math, but it's a lot of math and a lot of remembering stuff, and it's a lot of math and remembering stuff under pressure, like fast.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like because you're not just the driver, you're the operator, pump operator.
Yeah.
So while everyone else is pulling lines and everything, you should be like getting your pump ready, you know what I mean, and stuff ready to go. That way, when they're masked up and they're water, you just pull
Ready
your
to
pump
go.
and boom, you give them water. You know what I mean? And it's not just like I said, you got to remember all this stuff. It's not just like you pull a lever and they got water now. No, it's about how many feet are out. It's about the diameter of the hose. It's about what nozzle we have on the hose. Like there's a lot to it. It's about if there's an incline, if there's any attachments, if there's a Y gate. You know what I mean? All this different stuff, and they do that stuff within seconds in their head,
Right.
and then adjust. You know what I mean? They're pumped and yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, that's more schooling for sure. And then again, to be a captain. That's a little bit more schooling and then a test as well. And then with each rank, there's like minimum years too.
Okay. Time
Usually, to test to be a paramedic, you have to be on for at least like 2 years,
Okay.
2 or 3 years, most likely. And then to be an engineer, it's like 5 or 6 years. To be a captain, it's like 6 to 8 years. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Okay.
And then also degrees. To be a captain, you have to have at least right now an associate's degree. But that'll probably change. You'll probably need a bachelor's degree.
Right.
So,
just keeps going
yeah,
up.
man.
Yeah, higher their expectations, which is good to have because you don't get comfortable.
Definitely, and they're not looking for Joe Schmoes anymore. You know what I mean? Like don't get me, it's still a blue collar job, but a lot of these people they have education, man. You know what I mean? They're not just some regular guy. No, these fools have that being firefighters.
Right. It's like.
But yeah, man.
Both angles.
Best of luck to you, bro, and yeah, text me whenever.
Yeah, I will for sure. Thanks, Darren. I appreciate it.
Yeah, bro. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
All right, man.
Later.